Community Breakfast Show today, 22nd March 2022. I am your host, Zipporah Mshala, and I'm joined by my co-host, Alex Shimba. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Zipporah. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing this morning?
I'm awesome, thank you, and good morning to all our viewers out there.
Yes, so today we have a number of interesting things lined up for you. As you may be aware or may not be aware, today is actually World Water Day. And so this is the time where we take a look at water issues in the country. How are we going to achieve our SDG number 6 of achieving easy access to clean water and all by 2030? And so at 7:30, we're going to open our phone lines and you can just give us your views on the water situation in your area. How is the water? Do you have enough water? Is the supply erratic? How is the situation in your area? And at 8 hours, we're going to be joined by Mutendere Ward 38 Councillor Mr. Boniface Chiveka, who's going to help us discuss roads in the country, the status of roads. We've seen many complaints from different parts of the country saying that most roads, even those that lead to places such as hospitals, are dilapidated. So what is your view on the state of roads in the country? But before we start our day, Alex, what do we do early in the morning?
We just need to exercise a bit. I feel a bit sleepy, so I need
Really?
when I come back,
these days,
I'll be more active. Yes, and I hope our viewers out there can actually follow us as we do our exercise this morning.
Yes, so let's
Good morning and welcome to our morning boost, and remember always to try do this at home early in the morning before you start your day. This is not the main workout, but this is just to help you get started your day and keep fit. So therefore, let's go. We're going to keep it easy today. We'll make some aerobics movements. Aerobics is good for you, for blood circulation, to control your blood pressure, and also to make sure that you stay fit. So we're going to make some basic moves in aerobics. Let's go. Very easy. We start with marching. Go.
to look into. And let's have your comment, really, your expectation from World Water Day, which is actually commemorated today. What could be your call and emphasis on that aspect? Yeah.
Okay, so let's just take a look at another story. Alex, I don't know if they compare. Can you just tell us a bit maybe about the story before you...
So given that we are dealing with the Lusaka water challenges, so one of our councillors who actually will be joining us later on called for the water supply utility company, which is actually operating in Lusaka, to be partitioned into two segments. One company will be dealing specifically with the water issues, the other will be dealing specifically with the sanitation issues. Because if you remember, the utility company was given a mandate to actually look into these two issues, or given one management, one project unit, and everything to do with the equipment, the engineers. So they go flat out to deal with sanitation programs and also water programs. But the council is calling for designing a system whereby one company will be respectively working with the water and the other with sanitation. He feels that actually it's a huge responsibility to take up the two projects, that is water and sanitation. So there should be a separation in these companies. So that's the call from Ward Councillor from Mtendere Ward 34, was Mr. Boniface Chibeka, given the challenges that the Mtendere compound is facing with water. Let's just take a look.
Following a continued erratic water supply and poor sanitation in Lusaka's Mtendere and Helen Kaunda compounds, Mtendere Ward 34 Councillor Boniface Chibeka has challenged the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company to divide its operation into two entities that will manage water supply and sanitation programs respectively. Mr. Chibeka has alleged that the utility company has failed to deliver in its duties due to the fact that it is overwhelmed in its operations, thereby negatively affecting the consumers. He says this during an interview with Camnet TV News.
The issue of water here in Mtendere, to start with, I would like to appeal to the Minister of Water and Sanitation, who is also our area member of parliament, Honorable Mike Imposha, to disband the water and sewerage company into two companies, for water and for sewer, so that they can become very effective. Already we have a problem in Helen Kaunda, where they are not responding promptly to the issues of sewer. Now imagine Helen Kaunda is such a small compound. Then here in Mtendere, sooner or later we are going to be using a sewer line here. Now how are they going to handle a very big thing like Mtendere when they are failing to handle a small thing like Helen Kaunda? So my appeal to the minister is that let him disbandle that company into two, so that sewer should be on its own and water on its own.
Mr. Chibeka is of the view that, given that the company is divided, it will be effective and more efficient.
Don't have water, C-section, A-section, PHI, which is Benny Mwinga, and Helen Kaunda himself. Some of the people like A-section, C-section, others are even surviving on the boreholes, which were donated by well-wishers. So that's why I'm appealing to the minister to disband that company, so that they can become very effective, other than them dealing with both things.
With the renewed mandate, water utilities companies across the country are now compelled to handle both water supply and sanitation components. However, some section of the society feel these companies are not delivering to their expectations, given that their scope of work is now overwhelming. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, in Lusaka.
So that's a call to disband the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company into two companies. One will be handling with water projects, the other will be handling the sanitation programs. And I don't know, is that genuine though? Can we have such a thing?
I think that's extra expenditure. That's
Okay.
really extra expenditure. For example, we've seen...
But the core is they're failing to work. Maybe it's the tasks are huge for them to deal with water at the same time with sanitation programs. Maybe it could be genuine to some extent. I feel so.
Well, they were talking about reducing funding, I don't know really. But for example, let me say we've got the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts, because those are in the same categories, isn't it? Youth, arts, sports, that's really, maybe it could be an issue of maybe doing some shuffles or maybe adding more funding or something like that. But issue of splitting, remember we're talking about merging, reducing the size of cabinet, reducing, so we can't really start splitting companies. That would mean
what's more important? People suffering with the water issues and
could,
sanitation.
We could investigate, or they could investigate what is actually preventing the same. Is it a lack of funding? Is it a laissez-faire attitude? Then decide like, or maybe is it too much work, like you are saying. Then when that investigation is done, an action arises from the findings, not
To
just
put it rightly, we should investigate
the
to
cause
see, yeah,
of that.
to establish the causes of that. So the numbers are 0973 167840 and 0968 675273. You can call in and let's have your view on the water issues in your compound across the country. And could that call of disbanding these water utility company, it could be Mulonga Water and Sanitation, or Lusaka Water and Sanitation, and other water utility companies in the country, should they be separated in terms of responsibilities and duties? One handling the sanitation programs and the other handling the water programs, so that we see effectiveness and also efficiency. Maybe then we can have less complaints out there from our compounds. But people have come up with a good point as well in terms of the funding of these two companies, because now there will be separate budgets which will be cuddling for both water and sanitation programs. So we wait to learn from you as well, and do comment on this major problem of water issues in your compounds.
Yeah. Alex, the issue of water, maybe for example here we can be saying there's no water, but then in other areas there could be water, but what is the state of that water? For example,
is it clean?
Yes, that time I was in, is it Kankoyo township of Mufulira.
Oh, you've been to Kankoyo?
I've lived in Mufulira for like a year or so.
Well, from Kankoyo?
That was an area called Francis. Anyway, there are many areas which I've lived in.
Oh, Francis Moka, that's my area.
I've actually lived in many areas because of my sister. My sister works there, so she lives in this area. I live with her in that area. So really, there's a time when I did a story from Kankoyo, and you find that I found something strange. You know that Copper Belt is a mining area. And you know that those people told me from that area, they said this water that comes from the tap can't cook beans.
Oh yeah.
You can cook and cook and cook, the beans will never get ready. So it's like it's contaminated.
Maybe there's just a little of exaggeration, but those were stories. Who's coming from that area.
Story on that, and a real news story, like with testimonies on the same Vox Pop,
yes.
Community members actually attesting to the fact.
It takes long to cook with it, because we're having two now water utility supplies in Mufulira, one from the mine and the other one from Mulonga Water and Sanitation Company. So you get to, it was funny really, so people from Kankoyo would walk the distances to access water from Mulonga.
I saw that as well.
Or the wells. They would say the water from these wells cook beans fast. So I think of
and
it
really,
like...
if that water really is bringing that to food, what more to people's health really? That's something.
Even the tasting, you find this weird taste of this the water. But anyway, we're not here to...
The issue is about what is the state of water in Zambia. Really, it could be in a mining town. It could be that some areas as well.
But they claim it has gone through, purification process. It's clean, and the NEWASCO have examined, and it's fit for use. So really, we can't. Moreover, it's a company providing.
Those are complaints, so that's really something that has to be looked into. Because again, when I did that story, I remember the same water even had like some black particles. Like some black particles which are sitting at the bottom of the water. So really, those are complaints that the Ministry of Water has to look into. And also, there are some areas in the country where I've seen people drawing from just really, really shallow wells, really shallow, whereby the water is really brown. And with that also storage, for example, in Sanzara, where there were concerns saying that people are drinking from the same place as animals. And I'm sure in Mafinga, you also had a similar
we also
situation. So we're talking about clean water, access to clean water and sanitation for all by 2030. that sustainable development goal number 6. But with only 8 years from now, are you going to achieve or be able to provide clean water and sanitation for all? So what is the situation in your area and what is the way forward really on the same?
Yes, basically what could be your recommendation? Given that we are actually celebrating the World Water Day, it's an opportunity really for you to air out your views on water situation in Zambia so that it can be taken up to higher offices given the opportunity of the commemoration. So we call out on you and give us your stance on that before we even get to the second segment.
Yes, and Alex, there's another story you did really about, is it the water pipe burst in Kalingalinga? What really happened? I remember we went together, found as if it's a flood. What really happened in that area?
That reminds me to another issue that Mr. Mzungu, who's actually the PR for Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company, always emphasize on building structures, on pipes, and we have this thing going on in compounds where people can just mount up buildings, erect buildings on structures for the company, and so we experience a situation whereby this pipe, because of weight of the house and it couldn't hold up, it actually had to burst, and it was a mess in Kalingalinga compound. By then the councillor, Mr. Nyoni, was really running up and down. You could see him having pressure because exactly.
Yes, I remember actually I went together that day.
Yeah, it's actually so much, busy walking around and trying to fix the problem. But really, the issue of building things or houses on top of the pipes really is not allowed. Whenever you see that this land, they demarcate lands and specifically reserved for water purposes. As citizens, really, let's avoid mounting up structures on those pipes, because you get to have these complicated situation where water pipes can burst and you have floods all over the house, and the equipment, talk of your things in the house being soaked or bathed in water and everything. So it's quite dangerous. And whenever you have a plot somewhere, consult really and investigate if there is any structure whatsoever underneath, so that you can have right papers. So those are the things that the water utility company calls on citizens to avoid really mounting up structures on top of the water pipes.
Listen, Alex, talking about World Water Day, we shouldn't really forget to talk about our rivers, how safe our rivers. For example, remember last time we were talking about the Chalimbana River, where you remember all sorts of things were deposited into the river, contaminating the water. You actually remember that issue, which we discussed with Mr. Chimambo, saying there were all sorts of like ARVs in the water and all those other things. And then you find that some people are fishing in the same water, they're drinking that water. So how safe really are our natural water bodies when we're talking about World Water Day? What are we doing? So this is the issue of Forest 27, where some houses were constructed on a water reserve area, and that has led to actually contamination of the Chalimbana River. So really, what is the government going to do about such issues? Because remember, Alex, actually yesterday was World Forest Day, but then the last time we heard from the Minister of Lands, Mr. Elijah Muchima, saying the exercise to actually assess the impact of the buildings on Forest 27 need about $500,000 US, and he went on to say that government does not have that money. So what really does that mean? Does it mean that assessment will not be done? Does it mean those houses will continue to stand there because government does not have that money? So really he mentioned, stating that government has other priorities like free education and all that, but if there are well-wishers who want to give the money, they can go ahead, but that money is not available.
So it's not a priority? As far as concerned?
He said there are issues like free education and all that, but if well-wishers want to give the money, they can give the money, but there are other issues in the country like free education.
I don't know, maybe we're deviating. Didn't they promise that they're going to do that immediately they get into
So really,
the
that's the issue of water. We're looking at Chalimbana River, for example. How safe or how clean are our natural water bodies? Are they protected from contamination? Really, today is World Water Day. So those are the key issues that we need to bring out. Natural water bodies, the situation, what impact does mining have on our water bodies? And really, are we going to actually fight diseases such as COVID-19, cholera, diarrhea, and all that, if our water sources are not clean.
Sure. So we'll just get into another segment now where we'll be focusing on the roads in our compounds, really, across the board. So we get to have Mr. Boniface Chiveka, who's coming from Mtendere Ward 34, Ward 38, as corrected by Madam Zipporah, Councillor, to just come and help us discuss this particular topic. We'll now take a short break, and when we come back, we'll just get to jump on this particular segment. Stay tuned.
Camnet TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch Camnet TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the Camnet TV app. With Camnet TV app, you only use less bundles. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Lukalu, all the way from South Africa. You are watching Camnet channel, not just another channel. God bless you. Stay tuned.
We celebrate for all you've done. Lord, we give you all the praise. Oh, we testify. We celebrate for all you've done. Lord, we give you all the praise.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, we've been running through two topics that are quite pertinent in our day-to-day. One is talking about the water situation, given that we are celebrating the World Water Day today, and also the poor roads in Zambia's compounds, really. So we're calling on you to contribute and also get a picture from your compounds. How are the roads and water situations there? We'll be shortly joined by Mtendere Ward 38 Councillor, who is Mr. Boniface Chiveka, to discuss his part on the roads in his compound, and just have some stories that we'll be reviewing that we compound across to see how basically the road challenge is in our various compounds in our country. Zipporah.
Yes, and definitely, Alex. So this problem is there in every part of the country, or most parts of the country. The last time I was in Chilanga district, and we found that women there were telling us, so the road there is really rocky, it goes up and down, and we find that they're saying they only have an ambulance which visits the area once a week in the same area. So that those issues, so the same road leads to the only hospital in the area. And so their concern was, for example, if the ambulance was to pass, what happens? If a woman is in labor, what happens? Like she's being taken for labor, what happens in such a case? So that really puts a toll. Yeah,
we also did, I think it should be Kanyama, where they've blocked the road with houses so they can't really access the...
Oh, yes,
you remember that story?
Yes. They're saying fire trucks can't pass through because the road has been encroached. So really, there are really a lot of issues talking about roads. And we're talking about roads are the major contributor to the economy, because good roads lead to good they allow easy access to markets.
Indeed.
Without good roads, you can't take your goods to the market. So really, roads play an important role in the economy. You need good roads to go to school, to go to the hospital, to go for work, and all those other things. So really, roads are important. But then you find that the state of most roads is actually dilapidated.
Yeah, and given that we're just coming from the rainy season, most roads really have been poor in terms of accessing certain facilities. You know, I remember when we were in Mafinga province, Mafinga district, right there in Mchinga province, where we had this challenge of even just, you know, moving a car. It would take a four-wheel drive. You know, a four-wheel drive, right? You've driven a four-wheel drive before, right?
Have you driven?
So talking of this huge car failing just to, you know, to access the roads and having a challenge really moving. But it's a big car, but because of the roads, they are really in bad condition, you can't really do anything, and it's quite a bad sight. And we hope, like, we are not going to relax since we are coming out of the rain season, to say, okay, now we're good a bit and the roads have dried a bit, so we can't do anything. Let's work on the roads now and make sure that people actually access quite essential facilities. They'll talk of the schools, talk of the health facilities in their respective compounds. So really, what's the picture in your compound, and what could be the call to government to work on your respective roads? That's a conversation we're having, and we hope you can actually come along and participate on this particular conversation. Right about now, we'll just use you one of the stories that we compound to do with the roads that should be, is it Tuvalange roads? Was it you compared this one?
Yes, that's what I was talking about.
Tuvalange?
Yes,
let's just take a look at this story from Tuvalange so that you can get a picture.
The poor state of most roads in rural areas of Zambia has always remained a cause of concern, as many activities are dependent on good roads if to run efficiently. Good roads help to drive the economy as they provide easy access to markets, health and education facilities. The opposite is true in Tuvalange area of Chilanga district, as the main road leading to the only mini hospital, primary school as well as churches around the area is characterized by ditches. Area Councillor Mr. Tungenengene Chinoya says there is urgent need to work on the road, stating that it has economic and social value, adding that it gets worse during the rain season. A check by Camnet News found that the said road was characterized by rocks and ditches, causing vehicles to pass through laboriously.
This hospital and the primary, together with churches, has got economic value. But as you noticed, it is in a very, very bad state due to the rains and non-maintenance over the years. This road has got economical value because at the cooperative, that's where most of the dairy farmers bring their milk that is supplied to Parmalat and Crimbell. The other economic value that this road has, or social value that it has, there is a mini hospital which caters for over 4,000 residents. It also has a maternity wing. Now you can imagine if a woman is in labor and is being brought to the hospital. Not only that, we don't even have an ambulance. The ambulance that services this mini hospital comes from all the way from Chilanga, and it only services this hospital once in a week.
Residents of the same area say the road has especially taken a toll on pregnant women trying to access maternity services at the mini hospital, as well as patients in ambulances due to its condition.
Tina complain afyo mulandu na road kufuma pa school kufika pa Tuvalange station. Ngabali tuwamishe kwa government kuchitwatemo. Bantu pa clinic hapa abantu nga balwala ambulance ilepita bwino. Any emergency ambulance tete ise ingire okuse mukisendo mwe.
With the 2030 agenda to achieve good health and well-being, universal access to education, and improved livelihoods for all, the affected residents say there is need to establish good road networks in all parts of the country. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Chilanga District.
Since the UNIP era, the people of Mafinga constituency of Mchinga province
have struggled with the road network now worsening due to the rains and flash floods that the country has recently experienced. It is due to poor road network that most transporters avoid this route, thus lessening the economic activities in the area. This D790 road connects Isoka and Mafinga Muyombe area. Per custom, commuters have to wait to board on the only public transport available once a day, which due to high demand, load 2 times its capacity. Some road users narrate some of the challenges they face while using this road.
Very difficult, especially during rainy season. There are times that it may stuck into the mud and maybe it may take you maybe 2 days just in mountains.
Isa mutikiza kuno mseo okusuzia chomene tikanyamuka kuisoka cha mulenje tuyakafika kumuyombe cha kuma 19 hours tukasa mseo matipa furu so awo tikuti yaiti yangana nipo mtilabiseko mtiboneleko mseo tutondeka kutikatandalile wapapi chukwa cha mseo so pa mwatilabiseko tingaonga
ni a road ya tisuzia chomene because mone ente mchirumbi mni matipa mseo urujimika chomene so nkulombaga kuti government itovwireko pa mseo like kwitu nte kumiyombe vemba nte ya rudumula bridge tupotwa kwa mbuga na motoka zikadaka kusiri.
The road network is very bad. That's why you are able to see accidents, especially during rainy season. People can't come from where they are coming to the other destination. So my appeal to the government and the MP is that let them work hand in hand so that they can do something for this road maintenance.
And Mafinga Ward Councillor Jonas Selome has explained that the road is mountainous, making it even worse to move to and from Mafinga constituency.
The road ends here. People are struggling, mountain climbing, Chirumbi mountain. There's a big problem. As you said earlier on, this is an economic road. People are cultivating, there's a lot of maize here. And the fertilizer comes from Isoka going to our district here. The only problem we have is this road. Transporters are failing to transport fertilizer, maize, any goods because of this road.
Meanwhile, Mafinga Area Member of Parliament, Robert Chavinga, has retaliated calls from the residents for the roads to be fixed urgently.
To move from this side of Nakonde, going to Lusaka, then you go this side. It's too much far. So this is why we need this road. It has to be done. Okay, and the people have suffered for a long time over this road. It's either deaths or the vehicles. I think you saw first.
Mr. Chavinga says engagement with the Road Development Agency is underway and soon people should expect a solution.
This is to reach Muyombe, it's 113 kilometers. That is what is remaining, and this is what we're appealing from government, because we don't know the status, but we have appealed to the Minister of Infrastructure, who has assured us, the Minister of Finance, they have assured us that they'll look for funding after the rain seasons. But as we'll be going, we'll check in this area so that we see that there's a serious problem over this road network.
It is the hope of the people of Mafinga area that this road would be worked on as soon as possible. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, Mafinga District. Those are pictures, one coming from Chilanga, one coming from Mafinga District in Mchinga Province. And it's obvious that this issue really goes across district. The road problem is quite something that has been there for years and years. And now we have in our studios Mr. Boniface Chibeka, who's actually the Mtendere Ward 34 councillor, to help us unpack this issue in compounds. Is him representing the Mtendere compound, and we get to learn one or two things, and we hope you're going to call and ask him questions. Good morning, Mr. Chibeka.
Good morning, and how are you? And good morning, viewers.
Good morning, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
So today happens to be World Water Day, and looking back, should be last of last week, you issued some quite serious comment on the Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company to be disbanded so that it can be operated in respective entities, one dealing with water, the other dealing with sanitation, a story that we actually reviewed earlier on. Before we just get to the road part in your compound, what could be the motivation for you to think that the company can be disbanded?
Oh, thank you very much. Actually, I still stand by my views that the Lusaka Water and the Storage Company must be or should be disbanded And I'm still appealing to the area member of parliament from Nali, Honorable Mike Imposha, in his capacity as a minister responsible for that company. Lusaka Water and Storage is inefficient in its state, especially where sewer is concerned. So I would want to see where the water company becomes a water company. The sewer company dealing with sanitation and the sewer becomes the sanitation and the sewer company. Because as it is in my ward, we have a small portion like Helen Kaunda. Helen Kaunda is such a small percentage of the total Mtendere ward 34. So now, seeing that every day and now we see that sewer not being attended to. Of course, we've got water problems. Sometimes water problems are attended to, but sewer problem, it takes a long time to attend to it. And my fear, and the fear of the people of Mtendere ward, especially like in Helen Kaunda, is the outbreak of diseases such as typhoid. Because whenever there is such a sewer blockage, it is spill over the whole road, the whole passage, and we have children. We have also, apart from children, not everybody has got a car in the ward. Some people still just walk through the sewer and go to their homes and transmit those diseases. So my point is that if we are going to have a company responsible specifically for sewer and sanitation, they are going to be very effective, unlike the way it is. They treat the sewer part of the company as just like an afterthought working thing. Yes.
Okay, so have you made some sort of official petition letters to the company or to the minister over the same?
Not yet. I've not yet done that, but I wish I could do that. But I need to learn the procedure, because in every environment there's a procedure if you want to do something of this nature. So currently I'm just appealing through the media, but I want to, I believe I want to learn the process. Should I know no sooner I know the process, then I will surely write over that.
Okay, maybe talking on last account on the issue of water. Have you tried to get to the water utility companies so that they can come through some of the issues you are facing? And how has been the response from them?
Yes, thank you very much. The Lusaka Water and Storage Company, I think on several occasions, we have met, we have engaged each other. Just like last time, was it some 3 weeks ago, I think we even had a small workshop organized by Lusaka Water and Storage. That was in Karingaringa, which I attended, and the members of Ward Development Committee equally attended. That was the chairperson and the secretary. Then apart from that, there are some instances where there are, like I'm telling you right now, near Jesus Army there, there's an area where they dug the pipe. They attempted, I wouldn't say they repaired, they attempted to repair, but they...
Attempted.
Yes, they attempted because, and they've dug a very big hole around that area. So now, a vehicle can fall in. A child of maybe 5 years can fall in and die from such a thing. There's that poor workmanship with Lusaka Water and Storage. That area I can even be called by them, I can even escort them. And the other thing that, that invites, in fact, that's a tortious liability, meaning that the company can even lose colossal sum of money. Should it be sued over such a thing? Should an accident happen, either by a car or a person getting injured and hurt? And there are a lot of portion where Lusaka Water, they just dig and walk away. I don't know whether they free the scene after attempting to repair. So there are a lot of points which they haven't repaired. So I'm appealing to them to employ to employ like professional manpower, whereby they can attend to things and leave the way they found it area they flow. And by the way, the issue of sewer, which I was talking about, you know, in Mtendere compound, sooner or later, it will be connected through the sewer pipeline going to Chamba Valley. There's that unique company which is working, which is a very good development, and I applaud government for that. And they are going to connect water plus sewer in Mtendere compound. Now the thing that if they cannot manage the sewer part in a small area like Kaunda, I fear for Mtendere, what will be Mtendere be like? So I'm appealing to the company to brace themselves for such a thing and to employ more people. And hence, I'm also appealing further to the minister to disband the company so that there should be a company specifically for sewer. Like that, I think it will be very effective.
And how has been the response rate? For example, the other time we were along Church Road, while we saw a sewer spilling out. How do you think the response rate has been? How fast or how slow do you feel it has been from Lusaka Water?
Up to now, that thing has not yet been attended to, and that is not the only portion. Of course, what is causing that is not Lusaka Water and Sewerage. Our citizens, the residents, who are deliberately connecting to the thing that has not yet been commissioned. And of course, they are claiming that they have taken long to commission it. Hence, that's the reason why they are illegally connecting. So that thing is not yet attended. It's still discharging sewer. And of course, near Church Road there are those areas the women were shouting that no, some of their kids, they even got typhoid out of it. But I tried to pursue the matter, but it's like they were fearing to show me which kids and which house was affected because I pursued it. But Lusaka Water has been there. Public health from Lusaka State Council has been there. Unique, the people who are handling that underground facility have also been there. And the other media houses. But up to now, nothing has been done from Lusaka City Council. They just promised me that they will bring a vacuum sucker tank to come and suck out some of those data. But up to now, they haven't been there.
So does it mean the sewer situation is still the same in the same area?
Exactly, still the same. Still the same.
How long has it been now?
I think 3 months now, isn't it? From last year. That was last year.
Yes, exactly.
Last year, December.
Exactly.
So really, that showed us how serious the problem is, because now we're talking about waterborne diseases.
Yes, it is. And the problem, I don't know whether in Zambia what we are reactive after something bad has happened. We are not proactive. We are supposed to be proactive so that we prevent some of the dangerous diseases. You know, typhoid and cholera, those are killer diseases. Of course, I've seen people going around from a Minister of Health putting doses for, I would say, anti-cholera, something that like to get immunized against cholera. Now, while the ministry is doing that, then there is something, a potential danger for cholera. It's just being watched in Mtendere.
Okay, yes. And so maybe moving on to the issue of roads. Really, how is the situation? For example, we've got some complaints. There's that road which leads to Mtendere Health Center. So really, how is the situation of roads? Is it a matter of maybe a lack of roads, or maybe have the roads just worn out over time?
Oh, thank you very much. In Mtendere, we have a serious problem with the roads. And in some sections, a very big section of Mtendere have even become impassable using a vehicle. Of course, those who walk can walk, but we have certain circumstances where we just need a vehicle. For example, if somebody is sick, maybe a pregnant mother who is about to deliver should definitely need a vehicle to carry her from the home. As you know, in hospitals, they don't admit pregnant women and treat them as patients. Like, you know, in the 9th month, they will be at the hospital. No. Yes, pregnancies are attended to as an emergency, as and when our new citizen is about to arrive. That's when the vehicle will go and pick the mother. Now, the roads in Mtendere are in a deplorable state. At the clinic there, the road is terribly bad. And apart from terribly bad, the portion which is quite good, the vendors has encroached into that road. I've tried with my team WDC, at least to advise them not to remove them, but at least to move them, so that they give it away from the road, so that the vehicles can be moving to and from. But all I get is hate speech from those women, like, what are we going to eat? But and yet I'm saying that they shouldn't be removed, but at least they can move away to pave way for a road.
Because you find that maybe they've eaten into most of the road.
Yes, exactly. Actually, they've encroached a big part of the road. Then apart from that, we have a C-section area from that same clinic down to Msonda, whereby the bridges that come off from that road are impassable. A vehicle can't pass. And there was at one time a thing whereby a person died in the home, and you know, the vehicle was unable to reach at the place of the deceased. So the body was just no, due to the poor state of the road. So people had to carry the dead body until where it was the road was accessible. Then apart from that, we have a road from Chitukuko, from Chitukuko down to Maplot there. That road you can't even use a vehicle. You can't. And the other thing, that another important facility, a national facility for that matter, is the Levi Mwanawasa Hospital. Levi Mwanawasa Hospital is under my ward, it's under Mtendere ward. Just in front of it there. Last time the ambulance almost overturned there. The road is extremely bad. I've engaged the Lusaka City Council on several occasions. I've engaged even apart from verbal engagements. Of course, they started working, they would withdraw, they would start. In fact, they would attempt to work and again not completing. And I engaged even the office of the town clerk in writing. Apart from in writing, I personally delivered even the letter to the town clerk that this is the state of the road, especially at Levi Mwanawasa Hospital. As you know, it's a very important facility, not only for the residents of Mtendere. The whole Lusaka, even I believe Chongwe Rufunsa, also depends on Levi Mwanawasa. So now, just the frontage there is impassable. For you to pass there, you really have to negotiate with the vehicle. Now, think of an ambulance. An ambulance has no chameleon style of moving. It moves at a pace that befits the nature of the job they are doing, which is speed. Yes, it's actually an emergency vehicle which everybody should do, give way. So now, imagine an ambulance overturning there, or a pregnant woman just delivering in front of those portals because we have failed to repair those roads. And others, of course, they will say, no, the councillor, Yanganampon. The councillor, of course, the duty of a councillor is to be the voice of the people, is to represent them. That is the constitutional duty I have, lawfully given by our constitution, that I shall be the representative of the people in the ward. Not that the councillor should remove the money and mend the roads, no. Because even the president does not use his personal money to do government business. No, it's government money for the people. And the citizen of Zambia, the citizen of Mtendere ward, are taxpayers. If you move in Mtendere in the evening, you see how many people work there. Others from either informal or formal, but at the end of the day, there's a certain way in which they pay tax. Others, they pay as you earn. Others, they pay value-added tax. Others, they pay like excise duty. Different taxes are being paid. So in short, the citizen of Mtendere and the nation at large are taxpayers. So now, if they are taxpayers, there's that government, their money which goes to government coffers should be plowed back in terms of maintenance of good roads. All the people of Mtendere want that if it's too much for a tarmac at the moment, if it's too expensive for a tarmac at the moment, shall we have passable gravel roads so that at least a life can become normal while we are waiting for a tarmac?
Even as we get to discuss these issues in Mtendere compound, I think we just need to take a look at one of the stories that we did from your compound, so that people can get a picture of what's going on in that particular compound. Let's take a look.
Most roads in Lusaka's Mtendere compound are in a deplorable state, a situation that is causing damages to most vehicles that frequently use the roads. A motorist spoken to has told this reporter in an interview that heavy rains have also been contributing to the poor states of the roads, adding that there is need for the government to find a lasting solution to control the flow of water to ensure that it is diverted from flowing on top of the roads.
The water which is coming from the market, it comes with garbages in the drainages where automatically it blocks the culvert which is facing this side Kunda Kuchisasan. I wish they would have put maybe two culverts, the one which goes to Kuchisasan and the one which goes to Renkauna, so that the water is possible for it to capacity.
This road that connects Kalikiliki compound to Mtendere compound is equally in a deplorable state. What is saddening to mention is that the road also leads to the only health facility in the area, making it difficult for those coming from Kalikiliki compound to have access to the shortest route to the clinic. Area Councillor Boniface Chibeka has named the road as a death trap and adds that the road needs urgent intervention.
Two which are leading to the health facilities which are not in good shape. Just like also the other one is from Levi Mwanawasa Hospital. The one in front of Levi Mwanawasa Hospital also is under my ward, is also in bad shape, and the one in Mtendere Clinic is also in bad shape, and the ambulances are unable to pass through smoothly.
Mr. Chibeka has wondered why the government has not yet responded to the call to have the roads urgently worked on.
Kusik section beyond the clinic is where a corpse, they had to ferry a corpse using hands until to where the road is okay, because the vehicles could not pass and access that home which had a person who had died like inside the home. So the issue of roads is really terrible in Mtendere.
Mtendere compound is a market to most agriculture produce, making the area economic viable. Ensuring that roads are in a good state will not only benefit the occupants of the area, but also ensure that farmers get a market for their produce. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Quite sad and reading there, and also pictures from Mtendere Ward 34. And we're having in studio the ward council, and who's just unpacking issues that are affecting the compound in that particular area. So what could be the way forward? You were talking about if they can't manage the tarmac, at least they should do something that can be used for now by the people there.
Yes, thank you very much. What it is that, of course, we all understand that we all deserve tarmacs. Like as you can see, part of Mtendere, like Benminga Housing Complex, which we call PHI, it's a new compound in the ward, but if you look at it, just tarmacs. So even in the main compound in Mtendere, it needs tarmacs. Now, seeing that the tarmacs are quite expensive in terms of building that process, at least things like to mend those roads with gravel that can make it at least passable. All the people want is that their roads must be passable. And while we wait, just like earlier I said, while we wait for the
just
tarmacs.
to that thought we get to this call. Good morning. Good morning.
Alex, and good morning to you. Yes, I didn't get the name of my guest, the answer that from the parents.
Yes,
Good
Mr.
morning, my
Chibeka.
dear sister.
Good morning,
Good
Reverend
morning.
Bandul.
Thank you so very much.
Yes.
Very quickly, the issue of roads, particularly in Mtendere, yes, indeed, but I think it's one of those areas that I do use to pass through, maybe in the direction of Kablonga. Sometimes I even use those roads. Indeed, roads are outfits, just like, most of our townships. But maybe what we need to address is what maybe the council is enabling to explain to us. First of all, people like cancer in the world, they are the people that are on the grassroots. I think it is noticed, even on other matters, I've been saying that you see, the people or the business of our country, is supposed to be bottom up, because the people that we are sending, the people that actually do the donkey way of going to elect their representatives are at the grassroots. But once these representatives are elected, especially those at the top, that make policies, that for the show, they tend to neglect the grassroots. You see, this is where the challenge is. This CDF, I haven't seen what the Minister of Local Government, is it a rule
The
that they
guidelines.
come up with in terms of how this money
Yes, the guidelines.
How it should be managed and so on. Because then I think I'll be speaking to information. So I'll just speak from my own opinion. So if that is not part of what the rules that be governing this 25.7 million CDS, for me this is my take. The councillors should have been allocated a particular amount. Of course, with guidelines put in place, because these are the people that always in touch with the grassroots. Like we said, most of the people think that these representatives, once they are elected, they are the ones that should find money from their own probably resources to be able to attend to all those issues, whether it is roads, etc. But these are public resources, they are merely representatives of the people. So because they are the grassroots, they understand the issue almost on a daily basis. So if a particular allocation of money was given directly to the councillor, but with of course, guidelines, procedures, so that there's no abuse of those resources. They have made it with the community. They are part of the team with the councillor. So that some of these issues, because why am I saying this? Most of these places, they do not require immediately to put up, roads that are the bituminous standards. All we need is that, through either, the community themselves, or with the engagement of, like, for example, our state Times Without Numbers. ZNS is an institution of our country, Instead of us, always wanting to spend money to these, contractors who are foreign-based, we should be able to engage with our local national service, because national service is everywhere, not the district. So that then, they can have this world graded uplift, to a standard where, roads are possible. I think if my brother has lived long enough in that community, I haven't been a resident of Mtendere, but I've been a resident of Mali for quite a long time. Now, if you remember what was called the push project, where women were doing roads for, they were given some foodstuffs, and then, they were making roads in Mtendere. And that project, personally, I saw the road being done, they were gradual, but the standard of how they were doing it as a community together with, I think, I don't know whether it was a contractor or what, but it was called push, put for waste project or something like that. The roads were done properly with the community, and these were women. So those are some of the things, they could really look at in terms of ensuring that roads are possible in this community. Because it's not right what he's saying, and this is something like a theory of parents, where you have a body that be fixed because the person has died in a home, but the road is impacted by the cannot collect. Or a woman is pregnant and the pregnancy is due. These are things that are not supposed to be happening. But if, for example, what we're saying is happening here, in the city, in the heart of the city, near one of the biggest hospitals like this, what do you think is happening to our friends in the villages, in the rural areas? So, but then we have, these representatives, we have a government, an elected government. What we should be able to do, we should not wait for, to put up bituminous roads, and let's have a situation where there are some funds that are allocated to the councillor and the system is put in place, but also let's have the system either where the councillor works with the community to do the road, and there's that funding, or indeed we can engage with them in some still emphasizing. Because these roads, once they are improved, it is for the benefit of all of us as a country. Can you imagine if all the roads they are in the compound, even if they are not up to bituminous standards, but they are proper gravel and they are passable for everyone to drive through. That would improve also the system in terms of movement, the transportation, even those that are doing businesses, whether the marketeers, having to go to town.
I think the point. The point was clear. Yeah. So it's about how do you engage the community also in terms of just contributing to the maintenance of the roads, and there's an alternative being given of the ZNS, taking use of the ZNS in terms of works, And just to maintain the roads at an extent, not just maybe tarmacs like you earlier alluded to. So where do we come in as a community ourselves?
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. To start with, like you have said, and he has said, the previous caller, on ZNS. Looking at ZNS, ZNS have got equipment, and the ZNS are very dedicated to work. Look at even what they did at Mahatma Gandhi ground in Mtendere.
Let's just...
Hello, Moka Bwanji.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, am I? Moka Bwanji.
Bwanji.
Bueno. Twaganzina. Mutaun ka? Mutaun mo isa mulusaka? Okay. Okay.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I think, Alex, that's one issue previously where someone again raised saying despite cadres being stopped from getting money from markets, you find that the council has got more money now, but then town debt. But really, that issue, that's another
angle, yes, where we can actually...
So basically looking about roads, so can just continue your thoughts.
Yes, so I was saying about ZNS. ZNS have equipment and they are very dedicated to work. I think if we can be engaging ZNS in most of the works, I think they can do a very good job. Like in Mtendere, that historical garbage was removed using ZNS. And yes, and the place has since been clean ever since. And the other point, like I concur with the previous caller, not this one, that other one who mentioned the push. Even me when I was very young in Mtendere, there used to be women called the push. They used to clean drainages. They would mend those the roads, not tarred roads, the gravel roads, and they are very good. And
women?
Women, yes. And may I also take this opportunity to notify you that we have women cooperatives in Mtendere who have come on board. They've come forward. They are looking forward
just
to work
hold on
with
to that thought.
us.
We just take a call. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, just reduce the volume from your television set.
Okay.
Yes, please. Your name and where you're calling us from, please.
Okay, my name is Daniel Mura.
Indeed. Your contribution.
Yes, I'm the councillor for our state in South Concord.
Okay. Oh, okay, great. Your contribution, Mr. Councillor.
Yeah, I must agree with Councillor Chibeka on the issues that is raising with regard to the challenges we are facing as councillors in the compound. Especially where people are looking at us councillors to be people with a lot of money and to be the answers to the challenges that they are facing, especially with regards to roads and damages. People expect our councillors to use our personal money, to remove the garbage to clear the roads. But that is not our constitutional mandate. Like what the police is saying there, yes, our role is to report the challenges that the community are facing to the local authorities, to the central government, and to the relevant authorities. And make a follow-up to make sure that something is being done. But it's always the time with our community. They always, when you do that, the council is not doing it, the council is not doing all that. But identify time that our community understands the sympathize with us today. We are restricted in a way as we don't have resources like you said. No constitutional order. This is the president idea said. Use this personal money to work on the community project, but also the spend of the government's money. So I think at this day, we are doing our best as the councillor, is doing his best as the councillor of the but I think we are quite a lot of time with that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution. And Mr. Chweka, if you remember, that was a little discussion we had the other day, of course, off camera, where we talked about maybe access to funds, isn't it?
Yes.
where you said you'd like maybe some funds to be set up where councillors will actually be able to access the money and maybe use it for various projects, really. So
yes, exactly.
Maybe you can just explain more on that.
Yes, actually, I'm still calling upon that. I'm still maintaining my position that councillors should be, councillor's office, not a councillor, a councillor's office must be funded. In fact, heavily funded than the MP and the other offices, because where the councillor is, that's where the citizens are, that's where the people are, and where the citizens are, that's where the country and the nation is. Now, if the councillor has no funding, honestly, how is he going to work? And in this case, I'm even called upon, if in fact, should there be any constitutional amendment, let's have an executive councillor, not just a ceremonial councillor, because as it is, you can give an instruction, suppose they are not followed, what do you do? Because my instructions are dependent on other people, other bodies. For example, even at the council, where I'm a councillor there, Lusaka City Council, if you propose something, either to a director, to the town clerk, or others, suppose they don't do it, what do you do? There are no sanctions. So at least a councillor must be an executive councillor, so that when you are an executive councillor, you give instructions. Failure to carry out to those, there are those sanctions which will follow to that person, whoever that person. Even in the compound right now, anybody can do whatever is. Like for example, even at the councillor's office in Mtendere, it has been invaded by taxi drivers. They make you can't even park there. I don't even park there. They don't, the passage is blocked. There's just that acrimony at the office. And you can't do anything. You can say this, suppose they don't follow it. So what do you do? So the only thing I'm calling that, should there be a constitutional amendment? Or as it is, maybe a subsequent registration can be enacted to support that a councillor be an executive councillor with powers, so that he can, of course, run the ward very well. Then the issue of money, as it is, even Ward Development Fund, Ward Development Fund, just like the way it is the Constituent Development Fund, it is not being held by the MP or the councillors. It is held by the council, who are a secretariat. The council is a secretariat to both CDF and WDC. So meaning that they are the ones who disperse of the money. You can just have, you can just make proposals and what, but the issue of money and when to implement, who they engage, remains the Lusaka City Council. So meaning that you can be ahead in ideas with other people, but if Lusaka City Council is lagging in terms of disbursement and implementation, then people are going to, we want to look at what Lusaka City Council is doing. We look at the person they elected, the person they put in power, is the one they will be blaming that, no, this thing is not being done. Like the issue of roads, it's not being done, but people will be blaming the councillor. They are not blaming the Lusaka City Council. They are not blaming on, not even WDF committee. They are not blaming CDF. They are going to blame the person they elected. If in a constituency nothing is being seen, they will blame the MP. If in the ward, they will blame the councillor. And luckily the mayor, even if the mayor is the head of, political head of a district, like Lusaka district, nobody will mention the mayor. Everybody will just mention either the councillor or the MP.
And talk of the bottom up kind of a system that the previous caller talked of. How has been your word? Is this thing seen? What people down there are calling for on the grassroots? Is it being actually responded from the upward people?
I think I would say not yet. But the message has been delivered. I think the message has been delivered to the highest level in terms of development in Mtendere, what is required. But of course, in government, there are guidelines. In the government, even just tenders for it to, for example, we requested for a tractor set, meaning that a head of a tractor and a trailer to be collecting garbage in Mtendere. But it's been 3 months, nothing has been done because of those procedures. And those responsible for procurement, not that they are doing it deliberately, no. They are following that procedure. And I wish that, again, it also goes back to the issue of the law. If the law can also be amended, so that the ward development committees or even the constituency development committees can become like a tender committee. So once they become a tender committee, then things can be moving very quickly. Lusaka City Council, yes, can have the money in their banks, can have the money in the banks, but in terms of procurement procedure, what those should be, I think should be devolved to a constituency level. Once they are devolved to a constituency level, then things will be moving quickly.
Indeed.
Yes.
We really hope to see a change in Mutendere and also other compounds. And that's why we're calling for other people from other compounds to actually have their voice. How are the roads and also developmental issues that you can actually put to table so that we can follow up on such issues. Let's talk of the economical impact of the roads and lack of roads in these compounds. How bad is it?
Thank you very much. Actually, the economical impact due to bad roads is not indirect, it's direct. Number one, if you look at Mtendere, the way the setup is, there's that road which leads from Kablonga all the way to PHI through Mtendere Market. There are women there, women and men, who are not employed, but they fend for their families. They send their children to school using their business. They sell vegetables. They sell watermelon, others charcoal, candle, and most shops are along there. So now, the traffic, the biggest clientele is the traffic. That is the motor vehicle traffic. Now, immediately the motor vehicles start avoiding using that route, which means that businesses will suffer and has suffered already, because the motor vehicles are avoiding using that route, especially at night. And most women used to make money during the evening times. So now they are avoiding using that route. Even myself, I avoid using that route these days because, as you know, my vehicle, I use my personal money to maintain it. So, and I don't have a vehicle from Lusaka City Council, from the public. I like the way it is, our colleagues like the MPs. They are given money or a loan to procure a vehicle immediately they are elected. But for councillor, they are not given, not even a simple wheelbarrow or a bicycle to be moving with. You have to come with your own bicycle.
So that's why we're calling for an upgrade in terms of...
Most of the problems, when something happens, most of the time people call the councillor.
Yes, yes, yes. Councillor, this, you at night you sleep, they call you, you go using your own vehicle.
Yes,
you go and attend to funerals, you attend to a lot of needy people. Of course, I can't blame them. They are the needy people. We need them. They are around. And we should be there for them when they are called. I'm not complaining that I respond to their call. No, I'm not complaining. But what I'm saying that a councillor should be well funded, and if possible, even if it means given a loan for a vehicle, or maybe a motor, is it a, what do you call a Honda? That one? A motorbike for a councillor. It will be very helpful for the councillor to be moving up and down. A lot of times I move from in the ward, and from the ward to Lusaka City Council, because there's nothing again which can happen if you are not going to Lusaka City Council to go into the people's offices to pursue the interests of the people of the ward. Again, I use my personal vehicle, and apart from that, even if you attend whether a workshop, the transport refund from Lusaka City Council is 60 kwacha. It's 60 kwacha? Yes.
Even if it's a whole day.
That is just 2 revs for a vehicle. You just rev the vehicle twice, the whole 60 kwacha is gone. But a transport refund, if people don't know, for a councillor in Lusaka, is 60 kwacha. That's what they give as the transport refund.
When you go on either the Lusaka City Council or anywhere?
No, if you go for a program for Lusaka City Council, where you've been officially and lawfully invited, it's 60 kwacha. Imagine what a councillor say. Others say, no, a councillor is a volunteer. No. How can a councillor be a volunteer when a president is not a volunteer? When an MP is not a volunteer? When a mayor is not a volunteer? When a minister is not in fact, volunteerism should start from the top, from the president, from the minister. That's when volunteering should start from. When it starts from there, that's when a councillor should, even me, I should be able. How can you be a volunteer when you are needed throughout your code. You know, a councillor.
The work that you do really as councillors, maybe there's a body, there's no vehicle, people call the councillor and all those things. Really,
I don't have off days. Whether Saturday, Sunday, I attend to people's issues. Even if I knock off from my office there, when I'm not at the office, I'm in the field. If I'm not in the field, and of course while in the field away, there's always my personal secretary at the office, paid in my own pocket. It's not the Lusaka City Council which provided that resource. It's my personal resource, so that how do I serve the people of Mtendere? At least when I'm in the field or I'm away, there I'm here. It's right at the office there, attending to people. Immediately I go there, I go through the books. All those books, it's me who bought with my personal money, including the ball pens. So I have to check who came, I start calling them back. Those who I need to see, using my own talk time again. You know, they say that, no, they are giving. A councillor is not on salary. He's on allowance of a 3,000 kwacha here in Lusaka. I don't know other district. Now, an allowance, people don't understand. They say, no, it's not a salary. An allowance stops immediately. You don't do anything. So, meaning, a salary attracts some other incentives, such as gratuity. It attracts other things such as medical, what you become like a semi-employee. But the way it is, a councillor just has an allowance. As you know, a 3,000 kwacha is not much. It's far off from what the services we provide as a councillor. Because almost on daily basis, you flash out for funerals, for needy people, and we don't mention them. And I regret to be mentioning this because some people thinking that, no, he's talking about me after helping me. No, I'm just saying it so that people understand that a councillor needs more resources, needs more funding. If there's anybody who should be a volunteer, should be the president and ministers. Because by virtue of being a president and minister, because, for example, after a president leaves office, he gets, apart from gratuity, a house is built and is permanent till death on salary, just like the sitting president. Those are the conditions of the current president. Same as a judge, a sitting judge of a high court, Supreme Court, Constitutional Court. Those are what are given. And I'm appealing to the politician in those offices of presidency, legislature, to take care of compounds, to take care of villages. And apart from the late president, Rupia Bwezanibanda, may so rest in peace, he was the only one who was born out of Zambia, like in Zimbabwe. The rest, if you look at KK was born in Rubwa Mission, that is in Chinsadi. That's a rural setup if you go to Rubwa. You look at Frederick Chiluba, President Frederick, was born in a rural setup in Wapula. If you look at, after Chiluba, was born in rural Ndola. If you look at President Michael Sato, was born in Chironga Mission in Mpika. That is rural. Mpika by then was even worse off. The only district which was there was Chironga Mission as the only better thing. Maybe President Chagwalungu was the one who was born in Kitu, and you know the mines there. But the rest were born in rural, including the current president was born in Mwenga, in a village. So let's take care of these compounds and the rural areas, because that's where great leaders have. It has been demonstrated. That's where they are coming from. Yes.
Definitely. And maybe, again, as we conclude, maybe how do you think, given the fact that you've said that councillors lack resources, so maybe how do you think the CDF should actually be used to help councillors perform their work efficiently?
Yes. Of course, there are guidelines. I'm a member of CDF, and I'll just speak an abstract thing about the CDF because I'm not a spokesperson for Monari constituency CDF. But in terms of that, I would have to see whereby funds go into the wards. Funds go into the wards where councillors, they've got a say, each councillor. In fact, it's only that the guidelines are, of course they are made, but I wish they could also be amended so that every and each councillor should be a member of CDF, because people go to a councillor for things, so that as the councillor goes for a meeting for CDF, he's representing his ward. Now it's a situation whereby maybe 3 councillors, the way it is right now, only 3 councillors attend. Now, like Munadi has 6 wards. So only 3 are attending CDF meetings, meaning that the other 3 are not being represented on that one. Me, if I go there, of course I'm a CDF member for the entire Munali, but my interest is in Mtendere. I won't talk much about Karikiriki or some Karingaringa. I'll talk much about Mtendere. Of course, I'm expected to speak for the whole Mnali. Yes, I'm expected. But right now, I'm a councillor for Mtendere. So I'll be very biased.
Coming back to the issue of water and roads, really, what could be your concluding remarks on that?
Yeah, on the issue of roads, I'm still appealing to the government to tar the roads. If we can just see, okay, I've seen most of the roads, like the highway roads, like Lusaka, from Lusaka to Livingstone, the road is very smooth, you can drive there. Western direction, immediate you just reach in Kehema district up to Mongo, it's in Badi state. Eastern direction from Luangwa and I think up to Chipata, but beyond that it's in Badi state. If you look at the northern circuit, just after Serenge going into towards Mpika, it's in Badi state. You go towards Luapula, it's in Badi state. Now those are national. Now locally, like in the wards, Mtendere, Karikiriki, Karingaringa, I think government should also come in, should repair those roads and put tarmacs. And if they can't put tarmacs, not that they can't, they can. While we wait for the tarmacs, us, the taxpayers in our compounds, let the roads be at least improved to passable levels so that the citizen can enjoy the livelihood. The citizen can feel free to belong to a community whereby they can have visitors with vehicles. Those who don't have vehicles, they can still have visitors with vehicles so that they can be easily passed. And for the issue of water, at least the unique company who has been subcontracted by Millennium Challenge, which is being controlled by government, they are doing a good job in terms of informing the public. They've been in Mtendere several times. They've been to Karikiriki, informing on the progress they are making in terms of installation of new water facilities. I'm happy about that. You know, let's appreciate where things are moving. We are very happy, except all we are saying that if they can make the process quick so that we start enjoying the facility of water. And of course to sewer, I still maintain that I'm appealing to the minister to disband Lusaka Water and Sewerage Company so that sewer and sanitation should be a company on its own so that they will become effective. As it is, Lusaka Water and Sewerage only embraces the water party and leaves the sewer. Now they leave it to who? So that's why I want a company specifically for sewer and sanitation.
Great, thank you so much. Mr. Boniface Chibeka is the Mtendere Ward 34 councillor who joined us to just discuss the issues of roads and water in our compounds. To be specific, his compound is ward right there in Mtendere. And so we've been having quite a lot of conversations, and earlier on we had Dr. Mari Mukandila who helped us with the health segment. And do be aware that the health segment is actually open for adverts, and if your company would really want visibility, this is the opportunity to just jump on that and sponsor this particular segment. That also gets us to money market as well, which is also open for grabs in terms of advertisement. So those are the two slots that are open for advertisement. If you have any company that you can suggest, you can call them and tell them about this quite good news. And then we reviewed some stories also under the zooming headlines, and we're talking of the trending issues on water situations in our country, and now the roads issues in our various compounds. So from me, Alex Shimba, and Zipporah, who can actually close the program right about now. Madam.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chibeka, for coming through, having come through. Yes, we had very interesting topics like my colleague has alluded to, and maybe really as someone who actually goes there in the community, Alex, who actually goes there in the community and we see the work that councillors do on the ground. I think the key emphasis is to make sure that the office of the councillor is actually adequately funded, because we're talking about bringing change at the grassroots level. So That has been all from us today. So join Patrick Soko and Sharon Kalimbula tomorrow as they take you into politics. From us until next week, Monday, have a good morning.